Hi everyone, it's Tanya and welcome to today's video. And in today's video we are going to talk all about new interesting books coming out in 2021. Today I want to talk to you about 10 that I found. There's many more, but I thought like 10 would be enough. First of all, I want to talk about probably the most exciting one of those, which is Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Which a little bit, and it will be here, so the book. Kazuo Ishiguro is publishing a new book for the first time after he received the Nobel Prize. It is supposed to be a novel set in the future, and we will follow this artificial friend. The character is called Artificial Friend. It's like a robot, I guess, artificial intelligent robot, who is sitting on the shelves in this shop, and she is waiting for someone to pick her and buy her and to make her, like, you know, the companion, whatever person buys her. She is very observant. She pays attention. She has outstanding observation skills. Through her eyes we see a society. She looks at people outside of the window, she looks at the customers that come into the shop, and she always remains hopeful that one day one customer will choose her. It is supposed to be a story that offers a look at our constantly changing world and our constantly changing society through eyes of an interesting and different narrator. And also it deals with this very important question of what it actually means to love. In the synopsis it is also said that it is a thrilling feat of world building. So apparently the world building in this book is going to be something very interesting, and I'm so excited. I so much want to give it a read. The novel is also said to be very tender, and I love tender and heartwarming and just kind books, so I expect only the best things out of this novel. I have already pre-ordered it. Now it's just time for it to be released, and eventually I will receive it. I'm very excited for this novel in particular. I am very excited. The next book I want to talk to you about today also thrills me because it is by an Iranian author, and I think all of you know that I love Iran. The author of this book is an already acclaimed Iranian author, and this book is his first American debut. The book in question is And Then the Fish Swallowed Him by Amir Ahmadi Aryan. The novel is a harrowing portrait of modern-day Iran, and it explores oppressive and corrosive power of the state and how it affects individual lives. We follow a bus driver. He lives a very solitary life. He recently lost his parents in a terrifying accident. Since then he has always been living alone. He is decidedly apolitical. He doesn't participate in any strikes or any protests, but even like everybody has a breaking point, and so does he, and eventually he reaches his breaking point. And then after something happens, police takes him into custody, and then begins this kind of mind game between him and his interrogator. These two characters develop deep, disturbing, but at the same time interdependent kind of relationship, and they start playing this kind of mind game of cat and mouse. A psychological book. It's very much about psychology, because our main character, he's also kept in prison in solitary confinement, and so he's kind of slowly losing his sanity, and this whole situation is very like oppressive to him, and eventually he is facing the choice. He has to make a choice whether he submits to the power or he continues fighting. And it sounds so good. It sounds like a must-read novel, and the fact that it's by an Iranian author also is encouraging to me. The next book is Whereabouts by Dupo, and this is an interesting one because Dupo is an American author, but she wrote this book in Italian. So she's a writer and also a translator, and this book she wrote in Italian and then translated it into English. From what I understand, the synopsis is very vague, but from what I understand, it's a novel about maybe self-discovery and maybe finding your place in the world, because we follow this young woman who lives in the city. She grew up there, and the city is a very vivid backdrop for her life experiences. She works, she sometimes visits her mom in the suburbs of the city. Her dad recently passed away, and so her mom is currently living in solitude. She has her friends. She has this mysterious person, him, who is not actually a person. He's like a shadow who consoles her sometimes, but then in a year her perspective on life somehow changes, and it changes her as well. So that's like kind of what premise tells. So it's very, very vague. I don't really understand what it's about. I think it's going to be a very interesting and well done character study. At least that's what I expect from this book. Just a very interesting character study. The next book is The Rip King by Ladi Hubbard, and this book is very interesting. I am very curious and I am looking forward to its release, because this book deconstructs African American stereotypes and it gives a critique on race, class, privilege. It is set in the beginning of the 19th century in America, and we follow a set of black servants for this rich white family. The head of the family, he kind of finds his servants, and the main character, that's the way he found him in an orphanage. So he took him out of orphanage when the boy was just very young and gave him a job as a groundskeeper. After a few years, this boy is still working for the same family, but the white family is slowly going bankrupt, so they're losing all of their money. One of the servants is a brilliant chef, and she has like her kind of a family recipe. She makes this rib sauce, and one of the friends of the family suggests them to start selling her rib sauce and start a new business. The woman cooks the sauce, and then our main character, this boy servant, he becomes the face of the product. They use his picture on the product. It is humiliating to him, and at the same time, not him nor the chef nor the cook receives any money from the business. All the money from sales of the sauce goes to the family. And so humiliated, our main character slowly grows increasingly angry. His emotions build up, and eventually something terrible happens. This all also sounds very interesting, and I haven't read books dealing with like this racial relationships in America. It's going to be an interesting exploration, and also it is said that this novel is very well and thoroughly researched, which makes me excited, and I want to give it a read. The next book is also a very exciting one, because it is The First Person Singular by Haruki Murakami, translated by Philip Gabriel. And this is a collection of short stories told by a classic Murakami narrator, a lonely man. All the stories deal with love, loss, or childhood, or death. I've only read one of his books a long time ago, like a few years back. I really enjoyed that, but now I am excited to explore more of his works. The next book I want to talk to you about is Marguerite's Harbor by Eleanor Morse. And this is a family story set in May in 1960. The main character is this elderly woman who recently lost her husband. Now she is living alone in her house. One night she forgets a frying pan on the top of her fryer, and she almost burns down the house. She calls her daughter to confess this, and her daughter realizes that her mother at this age cannot live alone anymore. And so she and her husband decide to move to Maine with their children and move in with her mother to look after her and to take care of her. That's what they do. They start living together, and it's just a family story filled with small family events, small family difficulties, because the mother, she is a cellist, but she cannot find time and place and opportunity to practice her cello. The mother slowly descends into the private world of her memories, and she kind of separates herself from the family. So we will see how it's going to go, but I like family stories, and this one sounds like something maybe kind, maybe heartwarming, hopefully. So let's see. The Love Song of W.E.B. Dupo by Anare Fanon Jeffers. This book is a coming-of-age story. We follow this young black girl who comes from a family of mixed ancestry. Her parents is an accomplished doctor and a very strict school teacher. She was raised in a big city, but she spends her summers in a small rural town where her mother's family comes from. The town where her mother's family has always been living since they were brought to America from Africa. Growing up, she cannot find her place. She doesn't know where she belongs, and in order to find this place, she starts researching her family's past, and she uncovers some unexpected tales. So it's a story of belonging, story of ancestry, also kind of a family saga, and all of it sounds so interesting and just so fascinating to me. So I'm also very much looking forward to this book's release. One more novel is The Removed by Brendan Hobson. Brendan Hobson is a Native American writer. This book is steeped in Cherokee myths, legends, and history. Primarily, I guess it's an exploration of family grief, because we follow a family who a few years back lost one of their sons, and now each member of the family is kind of slowly drowning in his or her grief. The father, the head of the family, is slowly losing his memories. His wife is trying to support him, help him to remember, and just take care of him. The daughter of the family, she is kind of living separately her own life, falling in love with different guys, having, I guess, some love affairs. Another son, the second son that they had, he also kind of detaches from the family and he starts living separately, gets addicted to drugs and alcohol abuse. But eventually comes this bonfire, the family's annual bonfire, the occasion making the traditional Cherokee national holiday, but also the time when the son of the family was killed. And on this rare occasion, when the family finally gets together and they start talking openly about what happens and how they feel about it, how they feel about the loss. And Maria, the mother of the family, she tries to close these distances between the members of the family. But as the bonfire draws nearer, each member of the family starts feeling kind of connection to the spirit world, as it's described in the synopsis, that the borders between the regular life and the spirit world is kind of slowly disappearing. And then some mystical events start happening. So for example, Maria, she finds this small girl in the forest who somehow keeps her husband's memories. Their daughter Sonja becomes dangerously fixated on a mysterious man, Vin, who is somehow connected to her brother's death. And then her other brother, he miraculously gets into so-called darkening land, which is kinda on the border between the world of the living and the world of the dead. And the novel is set to draw deeply on the Cherokee folklore. It's a meditation on family, meditation on grief, home, and the power of stories. Brendan Hobson was a finalist for National Book Award in 2018. This particular book sounds very good and fascinating. One more book is A Girl is a Body of Water by Jennifer Macumbi. Jennifer Macumbi, if you don't know, is the author of Kintu, the book I talked about in my recent video where I announced the beginning of our big book club. And so one of the books that I suggested you for reading during the first 2 months of 2021 was Kintu by Jennifer Macumbi. This is her new book, and this book is also promised to be read in folklore of Uganda. And we follow a story of this young girl who has never had a mother. She was raised by the women of her village, her grandmother, her aunt, and the family friends. But the question of who is her mother has always been bothering her. By the age of 13, she starts feeling this kind of new side to herself, because before she has always been this sweet and lovely child. Now she feels also a rebellious side to her character, and she starts spending a lot of time with the witch of the village, trading stories for some knowledge about this new mysterious side of herself, and learning about her powers, and also learning about her mother. The book is said to be a sweeping testament to true and lasting connections between history, tradition, family, friends, and the promise of a different future. I need to expand my African library. First, I want to read Kintu. I want to read Kintu first, and after Kintu, I will get A Girl is a Body of Water. And the last very excited book I want to talk to you about is 400 Souls, and this is a collection of short stories by various African American writers, and it is described to be as a one-volume history of African Americans, as told by 90 of today's Black authors. This is fascinating. This sounds fascinating. History of African America, 90 short stories. I like short stories. I enjoy reading them. It also makes for a quick experience because you get through the book faster. So I will definitely be getting this one. And there you have it, guys. 10 of the most interesting books published in 2021. Let me know in the comments which of these books interest you, which one of these you would like to give a read. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was interesting. I hope you found some new interesting books to explore. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what new releases you are looking forward to in 2021. And for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a very good day and I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you soon in my next video. Thank you very much. Bye.